What's going on, everybody? Welcome to your weekly astrology forecast for the week of October 18th through the 24th of 2021. Astrologer Brian Scarborough here, Fixed Air Moon, keeping the collective fixed on astrology. Appreciate you all so much. Thanks for tuning in if you catch this live. If not, the recording will be up. I just don't have time today to record and upload, so I'm going to go live. Hopefully some people join in and hang out. If not, we're good to go. What a week in the astrology. We get a full moon in Aries on Wednesday. T-square Pluto. We got so much inertia energy. Even like an Aries full moon is this progression. It's this forward movement. Being Mars ruled. It's a Mars ruled full moon. And Mars is going to start off the week trining Jupiter, now direct. Mercury goes direct this week. So our higher mind, our lower mind goes direct. Woo! There's a lot of this direct, like, let's go. It's good energy, but it's also intense with all the Plutonian aspects and the Martian energy. And Mars square Pluto, this is a big one. This is really like the kicker of the week, which will be Thursday, around Thursday, maybe a little bit into Friday, but we're going to be feeling it towards the end of the week. And it's this activation of so much of this transformation that we have gone through within ourselves. We remember a year ago we had a Mars retrograde in Aries. Now we're getting a full moon where Mars stationed and went retrograde. Like a lot of last year is getting brought up. And of course, Mars, when it was in Aries, it squared Pluto 3 times in retrograde. And I think that that's very interesting to speak to. And I'm going to pull up the charts in a different way. I'm going to kind of go about this show different than I have been before. But what's up, guys? Happy to see some people in here. I'm going to pull up the chart to show you, like, when Mars squared Pluto, it made its first square in August, and that was when the you-know-what was, like, introduced. And it squared again, I think, December and into January, and, yeah, end of January, February, and that was when it was, like, full on, gotta do this is it, this is the thing. And I saw a great video on Instagram where it was going over the cycle of the stats of like 100% effective, good to go everywhere for everybody, and just over time all these stats have dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped, and it's like this great exposure. And I think that that's part of this Pluto direct in Capricorn, is there's so much like it's getting dug up, and this Mars is going to square that again from Libra, where it's not, this is detriment for Mars, so it was much stronger in Aries. I think that maybe that was helping us kind of scrape clean and get to the bottom of our own drive and, our own power. This is where it's like, ooh, hopefully we scraped that clean and found that power, because now it's almost like we're looking at the other end of the spectrum, where it is sort of the government and other people in life that kind of, I don't want to say they have the upper hand, but I do tend to think this is like they're going to try and take the upper hand. So now we're going into this very transformative time in our reality, in our life, of like, where is this future going? And I think that it's pretty powerful. I like to see these squares because it's going to make things happen. So we're in this time now where things are happening, planets are direct, we're going forward, we're going to see what we're up to, what we're doing. But it's destiny expanded is like kind of what came to me this morning. Is Capricorn does rule our destiny. It also rules society and norms of society, and Pluto is transforming norms, or what society kind of was tiered at, or what the foundation around that was. And of course, Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. And from a Helio perspective, I've been talking about this for a long time, but this week on Tuesday, we're going to see the exact square from Saturn to Uranus from the sun's point of view. And we've already seen that twice in Geo. We're going to see it again in December from Geo. But talk about just what is going on. We're going into a new destiny. And I think that with Pluto, it's very important to realize that Pluto shows us where we can have a lot of depth and power and where we can rise up in life, but it also shows us where we think we have power and we have no power. So it's important to remember that whatever comes and shows itself as we're doing all this relating and we're finishing up Libra season, that you have power over yourself and your identification and the direction that you make and the choices you make from here out. just like every other choice that you've made in the past, are crucial to where your destiny is going. And, you could say that things were pre-written, destiny is destiny, fate is fate. And I think it's important to remember that too, is that we don't always have control of that. Things are going to happen as they're meant to happen, as they were written to happen. And we just don't, I think the cataclysmic events that come from Pluto are much more associated with the need to grab on to what we might think that destiny is, or we might think fate is, or where we think these highest accolades or achievements in our life, or what we've been working towards for so long or going towards. And they might be the thing, that they might very well be what is happening. But at the same time, this is definitely bringing up job stuff, like Capricorn, career, job. Like, people are having to make big time decisions on career aspects in their life. And I think that this is where it's like, gosh, you're being, questioned. And maybe you don't have to deal with that. Not everybody has to deal with that. But this is like destined fate train moment of like, are you going to make the biggest decision for your identification maybe ever? And it's good that we have a Mercury direct. It's good that Jupiter's direct, because we're able to channel, we're able to understand the right way to relate at this moment. Like, it's a very powerful week. And where that transformation is taking us is just like, we don't know. There's an unpredictability with all the Uranian aspects. And even Venus is going to quincunx Uranus. We're going to see Mercury quincunx Uranus again. Actually, it will be a yod from Mercury. Kind of a wide one, but a little bit of a yod to Uranus. Like, there's something about this fate train going to this Uranus and Taurus of this. How can we adapt and move in an unstable reality whilst simultaneously having the trust and being able to identify with a deeper aspect of where our future is going, and not hold on to, it's so programmed with Capricorn too. And I feel like this Pluto is just screaming that we need to deprogram, because it's wiping that clean. Like, this whole norm, this whole society, this whole structure of reality is getting wiped clean with Uranus and Taurus, trying to take our values about what this physical existence is and the relationship to ourself. How can we take that higher and be able to build in the capacity to create? So there's a lot of like beautiful moments this week where I think we can find so much power and drive and be able to assert ourselves with fate and with God's hand and with where God's trying to take us and where the universe is going, and kind of being in the flow of where the universe is going without just needing it to look a certain way. We have to go with the flow. There's a flow, but there's also this, when you get in the flow, it's about taking action for the flow and making sure that your desires line up with your soul desires. So it's ego desires and soul desires kind of clashing. Mars and Pluto are octaves of each other. And I think that it's very important to, consider that, Pluto being this deep, emotional, compulsive, hold on to security. It's very emotional, and it's emotional about where society's going. And then Mars is more instinctual, impulsive, take action, just jump. And it's a little, a detriment position in Libra. It's kind of like, well, are you jumping with me? And we're in Libra season. So I think we all want, people in our life to jump with us. But it's important to remember that identification of self, and that if people aren't jumping into the new destiny with you, that, you got to kind of let that go. You got to stay true to who you are. You got to stay true to where your life is progressing towards. It's not a time to go backwards. We're seeing Pluto even in Helio. It's at 26 degrees now. Never seen that. That's a very strong degree of Capricorn. So, when we talk about like big decisions for our individual life, this is the week. This is like such a catalyst week of maybe some of the biggest decisions of how you relate to the outer world and what the outer world's doing and what is it doing to you and how does it make you feel. And do you like it? There's questions with Pluto. It's investigating. So I think we're also having to really investigate our depth and what that's going to look like, and how do we shift and mold our own futures into wherever that destiny is going. So I'm going to pull up the charts. There's a lot going on. We do see Mars, on Monday trine Jupiter in Aquarius, and Jupiter will be direct. So we didn't get the Sun trine Jupiter with Jupiter direct. It was stationed, of course, just like it was when it was in Pisces, and we got that first trine of the year from Cancer Sun to the Pisces Jupiter. It just went retrograde. So it's like we're just kind of like missing out on maybe what the abundance outside could look like, but at the same time, there is the abundance internally with that retrograde of how we can process our beliefs and our relationships and kind of see and know where the future can go without maybe just seeing exactly where it's going to go or it just showing up right away. But this Mars hits it at a great time. It's going to be direct. And I think this is where our identification is the greatest gift. And we have to be smart and go into the unconventional sort of abundance. It's like the unnormal is normal. and that's actually where maybe at least like mental or emotional security, I think, can be found is by just like, well, what's the journey going to show me, and having the courage to go into that, and hopefully being able to do it with other people, and to be able to go into things and not feel alone, or to feel like it's just this alienated aspect of self. But like what's up? Like where's that tribe at? I think we all have it in some form or another, and we do have there's internet energy, of course, with Aquarius. It kind of has that connected through the internet. Like, look, we're connecting right now through the internet, so it's a beautiful thing. We just don't want to feel too alone or outcasted by following our soul, by following our gut desire and the impulses that can take us. And I think this gives us a lot of energy. Mars trine Jupiter is just like, bah! So we kick off the week with energy. Like we can do these things. We can definitely relate to what's going on outside of us, and we can do it in a way that does connect the dots. And I think that it's going to help us identify so many things within ourselves by just kind of like, it's objective. It's not as a subjective moment. It's like kind of peeling back a little bit and observing, and then with what you observe, you kind of come back with a very smart way to act accordingly for the transformation that could be taking place in your personal life, or just what might happen in the world. Like, this is like I would say this is really the week where it's like, okay, this is where reality is going. Okay. Okay, let's dance to that tune. Let's follow the rhythm, but in our own unique way. And it's definitely not by just conforming. Like, whatever I've been saying it for a while, but whatever the mainstream says is the way, it's not the way. Like, it's pretty obvious at this point. I'm sure some people would disagree with that, but the astrology says it's the unconventional route is the gift right now. So that's what I follow, and that's just what my soul knows too. So it's I guess to each their own. I am going to show you my chart, my screen. This is the Helio chart, actually. I guess we'll just start off with this this week. I'm doing a little different. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the different. So Saturn, it's going to be at 12:36. We got Uranus 12:35. Woo! That's crazy. That's a big deal. This is only going to happen once. It's not like what we're getting with Saturn retrograding and Uranus retrograding from Geo. This is our form and structure of society going into a new direction, going into a weird route. It's shattering, and Aquarius is weird. It's different. It's unconventional. It's breaking away from Capricorn just in general. And then we get Uranus, which is the ruler of Aquarius. Saturn is a co-ruler, of course, too. And we even have Eros joining in on that square to Uranus as well. Talk about unpredictability. Talk about like Taurus too, being such a fixed earth, just this stability and these comforts and the things that make us happy or feel good or, acquire what our values really are. And it's just taking a completely new route. It's like, wow, it's like a lightning bolt just came down and said, nope, this way. And we've already seen the two from Geo. So we've been feeling this and going through this. And it comes with Pluto coming right to 26 degrees. of Capricorn. Like this Helio chart's very interesting. Very, very interesting. And Mars hasn't even made the square yet. It's going to take a little longer from this perspective. But the Earth, right as Saturn and Uranus square, the Earth, which is this little guy right here, this cross, is going to be squaring Pluto on Tuesday, right before a full moon in Aries, which is T square Pluto as well. Talk about pressure on transformation and Pluto, and governments and power and manipulation. But I think this is also just such a powerful time where, humanity's getting presented with a very powerful chance to identify with its power and how to break chains. So I do believe that this is like where we really start to see how we can break chains moving forward and get out of the matrix, because the matrix is very Capricorn, it's very Saturn. And this is break matrix times, if you ask me. And we also see Venus and Jupiter in Pisces. They love that. I mean, you got the three strongest planets in Pisces in Helio: Jupiter, Venus, and Neptune. So it's like we can't forget about the magic that's out there. We can't forget about, like, God has a plan. Like, there's something really magical and amazing that's ready for you. But you have to believe in it. You have to hold the faith. You have to relate to that. And you have to identify that. So it's almost like putting your boat in the water, putting your sail up, and just letting God take you there, and believing and dreaming that it's going to show you, like, a new, amazing, beautiful place. And there is a need to ground a little bit. Like, when I look at this, like, especially just from the sun's point of view, like, we're not very grounded, because I think reality is just so shaken at this point where things are going to be making so many changes. It's almost like, well, if you're too grounded, you're just going to whatever, like the earth's going to shake and you're just going to, So it's almost good to kind of have that ethereal, metaphysical approach to life right now, and the faith that comes with that, as we step into some interesting times. I'll go back to Monday and change edit chart, get back to Geo. Yeah, so we'll start here on Monday the 18th, and we see that we have Mercury Direct. I think Mercury went direct at like 7:30. Oh, look at that. No, I need to go back to hour. I think it was like 7:30 a.m. Yeah, about 7:30 a.m. on Monday. Mercury will station direct at 10 degrees, and it is still in that opposition to Chiron, but it's also square Eros, which is kind of trucking through Capricorn too. And it's interesting, Eros is this asteroid of love and passion. It's kind of got some like sexy energy to it also. And we are in this, Martian Plutonian week. So I feel like there's a lot of desires to relate or to find passion or connection that are definitely coming up too. And maybe we're understanding with this Mercury kind of coming back to 10 degrees and all this processing we've done and this sort of karmic clearing of what the future of relating looks like in our lives and what makes the most sense in that arena. So I think that we've definitely figured out a lot, and we got the higher mind and the lower mind here now direct. We got Pluto direct, Saturn direct. Neptune will come direct on December 1st. That'll be the next planet to pop off in forward motion. And we're coming off a Sun square Pluto. So, right now, as I'm filming this, of course, we have Sun square Pluto. I mean, this is a big moment for the transformation of relationships in all of our lives. And it's like we could have definitely had perceptions or ideals about what that would look like in our future. And it's like, okay, well, we're going to uncharted territories here. Like, we're going to have to relate in ways that maybe we never thought of before. I mean, it's definitely a plunge. So it's kind of our soul with the sun in our heart, getting a good hard look at where the transformation of reality is taking place and where your destiny is going to, and making sure that you're relating with that destiny and identifying with it and not needing to be, told what to do, not needing to be, this is where you really have to get back into what's within you. And I think that that can be extremely helpful. We're also going to see Mars on Monday trine Jupiter. Like, yes, like we have all the energy we need. We just got to identify with it. And that's the problem with the Sun and Mars in Libra, because it's fallen detriment. It's like we can kind of skimp on our identification or our own direction, or want to put too much into something outside of our direction, which isn't a bad thing. It's great to relate, but it's just like the abundance is definitely within you taking action for the future, Aquarius, for what you want to connect to. So just making sure that you're connecting to things. And if you're connecting to the things that light you up right now, like this could be some of the most beautiful transformative energy ever. Like you're just going to be like on it. You know, there's big energy. So hopefully you're using this energy. We are going to see the moon come into Aries and leave Pisces, which has definitely been a sort of sensitive, moody weekend, at least for me, a little bit, I'll be honest. But it was pretty like there was a divinity, a divine aspect to it. And also the sun on Monday is going to be at 25 degrees, which is a 7. So there's a divine like power within us to really relate and associate with this destiny that's expanding, this future that we're going into. And we're going to see the moon meet with Chiron. You know, we want to be a warrior. You know, I feel like this Chiron in Aries is definitely making it's hard to identify with self. You know, it's almost like taboo in society right now with Pluto and Capricorn is to like identify with yourself. Like you have to do what everybody else is doing. You pay attention, save everybody, you know, but don't pay attention to yourself. If you want that or you looked at the facts or researched it, like, no. So it's like just remembering like it's good to identify. Chiron's the key. Like we're unlocking great wisdom in healing our masculine ego within us. So we all need that drive, that assertion, whether, you know, male or female, woman or man. Like we all want to have that warrior within us. And, you know, maybe Monday is one of those days where that can be exemplified, or it can be sensitive because you're being kind of forced to transform into more of a warrior essence and kind of take the lead, take charge for life. And the moon's going to make really good aspects to the nodes with a sextile to the north node and a trine to the south node. And it's important to really identify with the facts that have presented themselves. You know, there is a thing about faith with the south node and believing with Sagittarius, but at the same time, like, you know, believe in what's true to you, and don't just get stuck in whatever a story or narrative is that isn't true to you. Like this is where you just have to relate your most authentic self with others, and whatever that reflection you get back is, make the right choice for it. Hopefully the moon's also going to sextile over to Saturn on Monday. So, I mean, we're definitely in a time of decision making. I don't think it's that bad if you're going into the unconventional future that you identify with. It's like easy choices that you'll have energy for. And I think that that's very positive. And as we come into Tuesday, we're going to see the sun come to 26, which is actually square. That's when we get the Pluto Earth square from Helio. And then Pluto's 26 degrees is a pretty strong Saturnian Capricorn degree, and Saturn's exalted in Libra. So I just think that Tuesday is just bringing a punch of like, especially with the Saturn Uranus square exact in Helio. Very auspicious day. Anything could happen. It's one of those days where it's like you have to have control of yourself and what brings beauty and harmony into your life, and act accordingly. And I think it's big choices that might come along with that. And we're going to see the moon, you know, get past Chiron. We're going to see it start to oppose Mars. So more of that, like, we got to find drive and assertion, you know, got to find beauty in being a warrior. I think that's a good way to put it too. And then the moon will finish off with a sextile over to Jupiter direct now. So it's like there's definitely more of the gift in how you connect and how you create sort of the abundance in life that you want to identify with. It's very important to move into that. We're also going to see Venus come to 13 degrees on Tuesday and make that quincunx to Uranus in Taurus. Now Venus would definitely rather be in Taurus where Uranus is at, and it's over in Sag, kind of like exploring all these different ways to relate and all these different ways to maybe expand values. But now it's got to do it in a very strange, transformative, weird, unpredictable way and really go this. Like relationships have to just be going on this unconventional journey, or they're going to feel maybe more weird than ever before. It's almost a yacht. It's not really, because it's too wide with Mercury, but Mercury's going to come back and quincunx that Uranus as well. But I'm not going to call it a yacht, but it's kind of there. There's definitely this like pressure on Uranus in weird ways with that 150-degree quincunx that's trying to have us not only understand but relate to the journey of unconventionality in a reality that is not certain, in a reality that is not stable, that could, be bringing scarcity. Uranus and Taurus is, resources. It's physical things that we might want or that we value too. And, we're seeing a lot go on in the world when it comes to that area of life, shipping. Like you got to be careful when you order stuff on Amazon. Like I just had to deal with that. I ordered a new keyboard and I didn't pay attention when I was ordering. That thing wasn't Prime. It wasn't already in the States. It wasn't going to come here. Like that thing was never going to come here. Like there are ships off the coast that for whatever reason, they just will not let them offload the goods. And it's very, 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 very strange. It doesn't make any sense why we couldn't have those come in. It's just like a choice that's being made from power outside of self, which is this Pluto direct in Capricorn coming all the way to 28 degrees. And it's coming by February 22nd to America's Pluto. And this is like major control grab stuff, especially in Helio coming to 26 degrees. Like if you think you've seen overreach of power so far, like this is where you got to be a warrior, because that's where you're seeing the most reach of power is from people who think that they have control. And I don't think it's going to work out. I'll be honest. I don't think it's going to work out. That's kind of what my gut tells me, is that too many people are awake to it and have seen enough and don't want to live that reality. So it's important that we're transforming and living our reality as the most true version of ourselves right now, so that we're not falling for that, because it's not going away. We're in a Pluto Jupiter cycle, which is 13 years in Capricorn, and we're in a Pluto Saturn, which is like 36 years, maybe, right around there, of Capricorn energy. So it's not like, it's not like that's gonna just go away, but there's different ways. So that's what I feel like is more likely to come, is like there's more out there than we might even know right now. And we're at this very powerful place of learning how to and experiencing how to create that way by not wanting to go into it's very powerful control, very, control like we've never seen before. So it's also a game with Capricorn. Like we got to remember too, like we got to play the game. We got to like boss up for our own life to get to whatever that top may be in our life, because it's like following that destiny without being just a subject to someone else's plan or control or destiny as well. Let's go to the full moon. It will be at 7:56 a.m. on Wednesday on the West Coast, so 10:36 a.m. on the East Coast. So if you want to see the full moon and get it like at its fullest, like Tuesday night, you're going to want to go. If you take pictures of the moon or something, it'll probably be the best and most fullest Tuesday night, if you will. Unless you're in Australia or below the equator. What a full moon, 27 degrees. I mean, it's really T-squaring Pluto here. It's within 3-degree orb, and we're seeing Mars square Pluto. So, I mean, this is a no joke full moon. I mean, it's kind of a giant purge. I think that there's a big release energy into Cancer. So it's feeling secure in your identification of how you're feeling and kind of getting out of any system or getting out of any thing that's trying to force you in a direction that you don't want to go to or you don't want to relate with. It's definitely finding balance between the outer and the personal, so the objective and the subjective of life right now, with the sun finishing up in Libra. Um, man. And with Uranus and quincunx to Venus still, it's just like, and after all the aspects that I've already mentioned with Helio and what's going down, it's like this is one of the biggest times in our life, maybe, to identify with our direction. And we got to release control. We got to get out of being under something's or needing something from the system, if that makes sense, and like being our system, and I think that that's where that release of the T square is important. And Cancer rules the moon, so it's very important to identify with really how you're feeling on a deep level this week, and especially on Wednesday with that full moon energy. You got to find that warrior, that power, that assertion in life to truck forward. I feel like this is kind of like, and it's right where Mars went retrograde and stationed last year in Aries. So it's kind of like bringing that up too, and it's going to be in opposition to Mars as well. Like this is that test of like, did you find your direction and your identification of where you're meant to be at in this life, and are you going to hold true to that and release the program of the old? And this can look so different for so many people, but I do think, as on a collective level, if there was ever a week where we would see, some of the heaviest pushes for something, it's like this could easily be that week. Like you have to do this, or this is like kind of like rights being taken away, or starting to really implement what the new system will be from that perspective. There's definitely a lot of financial stuff going on. Financial people are definitely talking about like they're moving their money all over the place. Like there's not a lot of confidence in stock market energy. There's not a lot of confidence in that system right now. So, and I've been talking about money for a while now. I think it's important to pay attention, just so you're not caught off guard. I know that I've seen some things about Fed coin, which is kind of based off Ripple, it looks like, XRP, but that kind of looks like it's something. I've also seen some other things about a US note. So, it's all speculation at this point, but it's also like, it's good to be aware. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and especially since this is the last full moon before a total lunar eclipse in Taurus in October, or I'm sorry, in November, with that moon. I believe it'll be at 27 of Taurus, right on Algol, which is the demon star and the financial axis. So pay attention to money. I know that might sound like I'm beating a dead horse because I say that often in my dailies, or I've just said it from time to time, but this is a good time to identify with everything that you need to feel secure, and to maybe pay attention to what it is you need, because Cancer is this security aspect. So we got to be able to take care and nurture ourselves through big choices too, with squares to a Pluto and Capricorn. Like big soul defining choices is important. As we come to Thursday, we're going to see the moon come into Taurus. It's going to meet with Uranus. It's going to square Saturn. Yeah. So kind of like we want to like feel good. We get this nice exalted moon on Thursday, and maybe it does feel like we can kind of ground a little bit and get back into our comfort zone in some way, shape, or form in life. And then it kind of like finishes off the day with like, oh, you thought. Like, how adaptable are you? It can definitely bring insight. We're going to be tested this week on how well we can transform. And not only that, but Thursday we get Mars coming to 24 Libra to square off with Pluto by the evening and into Friday morning. So it's like, wow, really finishing off this week with a bang. But it's like, in our personal lives, can we take the unconventional route to find our capacity to build and to create and to manifest and to bring in the things that really make us feel good? If things get weird, it's weird time. And it might not just pop this week. This is the catalyst. Definitely could pop this week. In December, we're going to see Venus retrograde on Pluto. at 26 degrees on December 19th, which is a year after basically the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction in Aquarius. Just like, wow. Talk about like values and physical things getting this scrape clean, and in Capricorn, very like masochistic energy, I'll be honest. Especially with Venus in Capricorn. It's almost like people will want the pain then, like, because they didn't make the right decisions now. It's almost like they chose the masochistic pain. Wow, I don't know. That just came out of nowhere, but very powerful end to the week. And it really is Thursday. And it's like, okay, to find value and to find security and to find this groundedness, like we got to transform how we're relating to what's going on outside of us. And it's definitely unconventional. It's definitely bossing up, making big decisions for what's going to bring you physical goodness in life. It's rare. And Mercury's been at 10 all week, right? So we're just kind of getting this motion of Mercury starting to move forward again by Thursday. And Saturn's going to come to 7 by the end of the week. So Saturn's at this very relation-oriented degree as well, and it's going to come to 7 by the weekend. So then I think, really the unconventional route, and for the collective kind of comes back to a very strong faith degree, and being able to tap into that by disassociating from aspects that aren't connected to that faith and connecting fully to that faith. Friday, the 22nd, will be the final day of Libra season. And it's interesting to note that while all this is going on, we have the sun transiting through what's known as the Via Combusta, which is, some people give it like 15 Libra to 15 Scorpio. I pretty much give it like 25 Libra to 5 Scorpio. I kind of narrow it down. But there's different ways to look at it. But this is basically where the sun, of course, it is at fall in Libra. It's setting. We're losing light. And then it comes into the pinchers of the Scorpio. And the Via Combusta is the burning way, the fiery path, if you will. So not only with all these wild aspects that are going on, we're coming into the pinchers of the Scorpion. And that's where we can get, grabbed and taken under, and then stung. So not that that's, oh God. Let me be honest, I just said that, and like the blow dart thing from what Project Veritas was talking about, that whole thing just popped up in my head. Like it feels like that energy, like it's going to be more of that, like have to do that, or you can't have any sort of sustainability. And that's not true, because we're unlocking genius. That's what Jupiter and Saturn are even teaching us in Aquarius right now, is there's different ways. There's genius ways out there for us to get into. So hopefully you agree with that and feel that within you, as we're in this very fiery energy. So coming into transformative Scorpio on Saturday is going to be a game changer for sure, because we're going to feel the depths of where all that relating had to go, and who are we really merging with. And are we merging with death, or are we merging with rebirth? And that moon's going to finish up, and it's going to make nice aspects to Pluto, but it's also going to square Jupiter and trine over to Neptune and start quincunxing with Mars, and quincunx Venus the day before. So I just think this weekend, or especially Friday, is like a very intense day for making very justified and powerful decisions for what's going to bring you the ultimate and the best and the fulfillment in life. And it's like really embracing what transformations you can make that hold true to who you are. And hopefully that's, it's that faith, I think. And like I showed in the Helio in the beginning, Neptune, Venus, Jupiter, all in Pisces this week. Like, wow. Like, there's really a lot of beauty in the faith. We got to have it, but we also got to still have our ego going and make decisions, take action, do the things to bring that, as we are seeing. Also, Mars, with the sun at 29 Libra, intense about finding justice. And it's on Spica, which Spica is the judge of Libra, and Pluto is squaring Spica with Mars on it. Like, again, like, this is a huge moment where we justify and become the judge for this this destiny. Like, where is reality going? Where is the system going? What is the control going to look like? And are we going to let that justify our life, or are we going to justify it? And I think this full moon in Aries is very important for, like, being like, you gotta identify, you gotta find your power. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it, because what happens if you don't? Like, I don't personally know, but I know that those nodes are about to switch in January, and that south node in Scorpio is going to be intense. So as we're seeing those nodes come to 1 degree of Gemini and Sagittarius, like, you have got to have your truth. You do not want to just be in some belief or some, I'll be honest, like, COVID's a cult. It's very Sagittarius. It's this new religion that everybody needs to believe in. Like, even, the Vatican's like bowing down to it. It's very, very weird. And there's too much information and too much truth coming out to, and I know you guys know that. But the South Node in Sag is finishing up, and when it comes into Scorpio, like, that's going to be intense. Like, when the South Node comes into a new sign, it is so strong. Like, when the South Node came into Sagittarius, guess what? That was when everything happened with CV. That was when that became just the belief and the fear. But we haven't even seen the fear yet until that South Node comes into Scorpio. But it's all going to be this illusion. And it's another thing with Jupiter, with Neptune in Helio, and Jupiter's also on its way to meet with Neptune next year in Pisces, is so much deception that's going to have to be navigated, because the fear will be deception. And it's going to be propagated by the government, by Pluto in Capricorn, which will be the dispositor of that South Node. So a little off this week there, but, like, important to consider as we move forward and see where this week starts to initiate and transform our own lives, and how to maybe navigate that well. And yes, Amber, South Node in Sag is absolutely false beliefs, because there's too much information coming out to just believe one thing. So that was a good comment. I saw that pop up. That's why you want to go towards the North Node, and it's not the easy route. So we're going to see a lot of people in society just bite the fear spell. And, Scorpio is also death too. So I would not be surprised, since we're going to start to see long-term side effects start making their way out, that, coming into next year, over that 18-month period, it's not unlikely that we see some unfortunate things go down with people that bought the spell. And I hope that that's not true, but I don't know. So let's go check out Scorpio season. Sun comes in on October 23rd. It'll be pretty late. What is the exact ingress? I haven't looked yet, I'll be honest. Comes in at 9:56 p.m. October 22nd. So if you're on the East Coast, October 23rd, around just after midnight, 1 a.m. And on the East Coast, it'll be late Tuesday or Friday evening, coming to Scorpio season. Yeah, it's deep, it's dark, it's the depth of reality. They always say the veil is the thinnest in Scorpio season. I tend to believe that's true. I mean, this is really getting into a lot of the hidden, it's kind of like we're getting into some serious investigative work here as well, especially with Pluto dispositing the sun now and being direct and heading towards America's Pluto. We're going to start to see so much get uncovered. It's going to blow people's minds. It's going to absolutely blow people's minds. And you know what? The scariest part is for people is it's probably the truth that people weren't listening to in the beginning is what causes the most fear moving forward, because they believe, they bought it. So definitely psychic energy is strong in Scorpio. Your antenna intuitively will be wide awake, and you want to embrace that This definitely gives the sun some more power than being in fall position, but it still doesn't necessarily want to be in the pinchers of this scorpion and trying to kind of dodge. So we're kind of dodging how we're going to get stung and taken out of our destiny in a lot of ways, I'll be honest. Maybe as we finish off this weekend, but it's also like get into the depth of what you really desire and find who you want to link up with and who's there for you. And that's everything right now. Super important. We're going to see the moon come into Gemini. So it's like, ooh, lots of information could definitely be showing up in our lives. It'll be with the North Node. Might not be what people want to hear. It might be. Depends on everybody's kind of position and where they're at with information right now. Some people don't want to see it. Some people can't get enough of it. So definitely depends a little bit on all of that. It's going to trine Saturn. It looks pretty good. I mean, I'll be honest, like I like this weekend. I feel like we're kind of ready to get down into the nitty-gritty of whatever it is that we need to act accordingly on based on the information that we've seen. So I like that. And we're starting to see Venus get close to a sextile over to Jupiter direct, which will happen next week. And we're also going to see Venus get really close to the square to Neptune, but not get quite there. So that's where like all this relating from Libra season kind of gets a little like, ooh. And with Mercury finally going direct and quincunx Uranus by Sunday, like, wow, a lot of questions are going to be answered. If we've been on the fence about anything that has to do with relating to other people, like I feel like Sunday and relating to society, like it's definitely going to look a little we could have the insight and have it all figured out. This will be the third and final quincunx from Mercury to Uranus. So maybe we finally have figured out how to make a solid decision in Libra season. And now it's like, okay, I know exactly where the depth's going and where the transformation is. I'm following that insight after all those hits. So maybe it's like getting it, but then seeing Venus come over to square Neptune is, very powerful heart chakra energy, I would say. I think that they're octaves of each other, like I was saying with Mars and Pluto, Venus and Neptune. So definitely within, heart energy and love energy, it could be extremely potent and powerful. And there could be some dreamy energy about that, but there can also be some like real delusion or ideals about who we're merging with or about what the media is saying that, we need to expand upon. So definitely, staying grounded and holding true with the information that's presented itself as we come to next week when that'll be exact. So even next week starts to ramp up with some big intensity as well. And we won't see Mars ingress this week, but we will next week. So it's a very interesting week. I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot of goodness too. So I don't want to, make it sound like that it's like, the world's going to end this week. No, the world isn't going to end, but like maybe possibly really the old world that we've kind of been on this precipice of, we could really start to see that end. And then it's like the big decisions of really relating and identifying with the direction you want to go in. So it's a very big week in the astrology. Not ready for Scorpio season. Honestly, we could all use some grounding. There's not much earth in the chart either, so we do have to ground ourselves, but at the same time, like, don't get too grounded that you're too like fixated and planted and can't pivot, because I think it's a great time of pivot energy as well, and like being a warrior with the decisions that are most important to you, with however that may show up. I think a lot of it is just we've done a lot of the personal work, like I mentioned before, and now it's time to implement that personal work as we see the energy really shift to what's outside of us, as we see all the planets in the outer personal signs. So, except for Uranus and Chiron's an asteroid. So, just a lot of the outer world's about to go through major shifts, and I don't know exactly what they're going to look like, but I'm going to flow with it. And that's all I would say you have to do too, is really trust your gut and your intuition, and do the things that make you feel secure. And if things try to pressure you into doing something that makes them feel secure, that's a red flag. So I love you guys very much. I'm gonna call it. I hope you enjoyed this live. Hope you enjoyed the horoscope. A little different. Usually I just channel these, but I just felt like mixing it up. See, I'm trying to go with the flow. Maybe you guys will too. And hopefully the information was good. A lot to look forward to. A lot of direct energy. I think there's a lot of magic too. So we don't want to forget about the magic. And it's a transformative time. I love it. I really do. I think that this is like some of the, like 2021 was like, okay, 2020 was a big deal in getting people sort of on the mission. But I think like this year is insanely powerful for exactly the reason you came to this planet or to this life, or whatever your higher aspect of yourself written in your destiny, in your stars. Like, this is the moment that the catalyst of that takes place. And I think that, yes, that's intense, that is wild, it's crazy in some ways, but it's also extremely beautiful from an evolutionary standpoint. So give yourself some love, give yourself some credit. You've made it this far. You can make it so much farther, especially if you're being true to who you are and identifying with that, and not letting aspects outside of self define reality for you, but defining it by what feels most in alignment with your spirit. I love you all very much. Sending you all my love and best. I'll catch you for all the daily content starting tomorrow on Monday. So I'll see you then. Much love. Peace.